Oh, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, let's get this party started. One, two, three. Yeah, sure. Really? Awesome. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right. Back on the bike. So if you didn't see the other video I posted, I guess it would be yesterday now. I'm now going to be doing most of my, at least for the foreseeable future, most of my cardio training, my conditioning on the bike if I'm at home, where I'm at right now in my garage, or it'll be on the Airdyne bike at Redline. Left hip flexor, been almost 2 weeks now. It'll be 2 weeks this Friday since I pulled it, and hasn't really gotten any better. So I can definitely feel it when I run, especially when I try to run fast. And I mean, if I go for easy runs, I can get away with it. But I've done a couple of easy runs so far with how my hip flexor is at the moment, and it's just not ideal. I'm thinking too much about my hip flexor as I run versus just focusing on the run itself. So yesterday I just did a half hour, easy cardio workout, zone 2, if you will. Today I'm actually going to do intervals, ones that I've done before on the Airdyne, going 2 minutes on and 1 minute off. In this particular case, I mean, I don't have speed. The speedometer I have that's connected to my bike isn't. It's only connected to the front wheel, so I don't have a way to gauge my speed. Any real way I'll be able to gauge my effort level from one interval to the next. I mean, I got my heart rate monitor, but right now it's reading completely off. So really, the only way that I'll be able to tell how my effort is going, or maybe not effort, but if I'm able to perform each set relatively the same, will be paying attention to my cadence. So just gonna do a 3 minute warm up. I'm already about 2.5 minutes in. I gotta limit this to 30 minutes today because I gotta pick up my youngest from daycare relatively soon. So 3 minute warm up, 3 minute cool down, and 8 sets of 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. Right now, I'd say I'm in my 5th year, and I'm just gonna go into big gear for the main sets here. 2, 1. All right. So I'm on my big gear, on the front big gear. That's where I'll be during these 2 minute sets. Since I'm going to be doing 8 of these, I won't be overly aggressive off the start because I haven't done this particular interval on the indoor on my trainer for, well, ever really. So I'll be holding back a little bit on the front half I don't want to get overzealous with it and suffer towards the end. I'd rather be more conservative on the beginning end and then push it a little bit more, um, push it a little bit more on the back half. I mean, that's usually my strategy for any kind of endurance event I do, even when it's an event that I've done, or whether I'm approaching something new or whether it's something I've done many times before. I always want to do what's called a negative split. Try to have the second half faster than the first half. That's a common strategy amongst endurance athletes. You typically want to have your back half faster than your front half, which we're going to talk about in the context of the POPAT test, or the PAIR, or the COPAT, or any physical test that you do for policing. You gotta manage your energy well. All right, 1 minute easy here. I'll drop down to my smaller gear. Just do a bit of an easier spin here. The mistake a lot of people make when they run through the tests, and I'm going to talk mainly about the POPAT because it is the one that we mostly prepare people for at Redline. Everyone always wants to run the obstacle course fast, okay? And usually they run it too fast, so that by the time they get to the push-pull machine, their energy is much more depleted. And of course, you got the vault at the very end, and that requires a lot of energy. So, if we look at the breakdown of the times, I'll have to use myself as an example because it's what I have most available to me immediately for data. The 2/3 of the test will be done on the obstacle course. And then the other third is essentially the machine and the vault. Yeah, sounds about right. 2/3 on the course, a third vault and machine. And so, as tempting as it is to want to run the obstacle course absolutely fast and have more time left for the machine and the vault, but you know what would illustrate my point better is a recent testing that we did. We had this one person come in who was running the POPAT, and she was clearly fit. So fitness was not her issue. And she has had some prior experience with the PAIR test, not so much with the POPAT. She was actually coming in from out of town, and so because she knows she struggles a bit more with the machine, her mindset was, I got to go fast on the course so that I have more time to be able to complete the push-pull machine. And then, of course, vault at the end. Now, logically, that makes sense. If you complete the course faster, you will have more time left for the machine and the vault. The problem with that logic is that it doesn't take into account the amount of energy it takes by pushing hard on that front end. And so that's what happened with her. See, she was coming off the course, she was at 2:12. And so on average, that's about 22 seconds per lap. But she's starting off around 21s, trying to hold 21s. And eventually, she's dropping down to 23 and 24 seconds on laps 4, 5, and 6. And I can see it too. I can see it on her face, especially by lap 5. There's more struggle there, a little bit more pain on the face. Now, she wasn't looking what I call comfortably hard. So she was pushed it a bit too much. So by the time she got to the machine, she was struggling more than she should have been because she used up more of her energy on the course. So yes, she got to the machine and she had more time, but she didn't have the necessary energy. And I knew she could do the machine because watching her during the warm-up period, she had no problem with the pull and she had no problem with the push. But during her test run, she's about 3 or 4 rotations in and she ended up dropping the weight because she was so fatigued from the obstacle course. Now, I don't always give people a second opportunity to run the test again in the same session. But considering that she didn't even make it to the push or the vault, and just seeing what I can see that fitness is not her issue, I gave her a second opportunity to run again the same day. We let everyone else go through, so everyone else was there for testing. We tested them first just so she had some recovery, and I had her run again. This time, I told her to slow it down. And this time around, I'll see if I can pull up her, just going to find it, because I know I took a picture of it. Just going to quickly see if I can find it. Where are we at? Oops. If you can just bear with me for a moment. Oh, where is it? Okay, so I mentioned the first time around, she finished the course in 2:12. That would have been a 22-second average. This time I told her to slow it down. She finished at 2:25. So 13 seconds slower. If I do the math, that's about 24 seconds per lap. So on an average, she's 2 seconds per lap slower. But whereas the first one, she basically stopped. She couldn't get through the pull. This time she completed everything. And she ended up finishing the test and passing. Now, not the greatest of scores. It was 4:12, but she still passed. We got to consider this is her second run of the day. Most people have a hard time doing a second run on the same day. So, oops. So yes, her course time was slower. So technically, she'd have less time to get through the machine and the vault. But because she paced herself more effectively, slowed down her effort level, she had more energy left over to get through the machine effectively and to ultimately get through the vault at the very end. So it's not about running the obstacle course at your absolute fastest. In fact, I have a video where I compare my best pair time, where I'm pacing myself, versus one where I'm trying to run the obstacle course as fast as possible. I ended up in the one where I essentially was trying to sprint the obstacle course. That one where I sprinted, I ended up being about 17, 18 seconds slower overall than when I paced myself. So you got to remember, what you do on the course will affect your performance on everything after, right? You cannot just simply think about time. You have to think about the amount of energy that has to be put into achieving a faster time, right? And intuitively, we should know this, right? Just think, 100 meters all out is much different than jogging 100 meters. But if I wanted to do, let's just say, 20 push-ups as fast as I can after jogging 100 meters, I'd be able to do that much better than if I went 20 push-ups as fast as I can after sprinting all that 100 meters. So you got to remove that notion, or maybe not remove that notion, but you got to remember anytime you have to go faster, you have to expend more energy. And that's what's going to ultimately kill you in the overall time, right? So the course, the obstacle course isn't about how fast can you run it. It's about how fast can you run it and still have enough energy left over to get through the machine effectively and to get through the vault effectively. Because in the end, your score is going to be dependent on the overall time, not just what you do on the obstacle course. See, there's strategy to these tests. There's strategy, there's technique, there's more nuance to it than you realize. Just even how you jump over the vault. I'll use actually another example of in the same testing session, we had a gentleman running his SOPAT test. And when he got to the vault, from a time perspective, it was tight. He might have still been able to pass it, but the way he was jumping, he was using more energy than necessary. Right, so he's basically jumping from what I call a dead position. And that is, he's on both feet and he's trying to jump over. He's not able to use some kind of momentum to help him get over the vault. So I always recommend to step into your jump. Think like the basketball players out there. Think like you're going for a 1 foot layup. If you're a soccer player or even a martial artist, think like you're going for a kick, right? You might step into it and then throw that leg over. But essentially the idea I'm getting at is use some momentum to get you over the bar versus just simply trying to pop up with no momentum at all. Because when you try to pop up with no momentum, you have to generate more energy. And at this point, during the test on the vault, you don't have a whole lot of energy left over. So when you're trying to gather that energy to jump over the vault, you're wasting time. So it's kind of a double whammy when you jump from a dead position. One, you have to use more energy than necessary, and energy you don't necessarily have. And two, you're slowing down because you're trying to generate that energy. Speaking of slowing down, I'm feeling it a bit. I'm on the back half though. All right, so that's the 5th set right there that I just finished. Got 3 more to go. And I don't trust my heart rate right now. Yeah, my heart rate monitor's off. So if you watched my video yesterday, I talked about heart rate monitor or using heart rate to gauge your effort level. And sometimes using heart rate is not always the best way to measure effort. Well, another reason why it's not the best way to measure it is if your heart rate monitor isn't reading it correctly. Right now, my heart rate monitor is reading it, it's saying it's under 140 beats per minute, but I just took a manual take of my pulse. I'm between 170 and 180. So I don't know why it's off right now. It's another reason why you don't want to rely entirely on your heart rate. At least if you're using a heart rate monitor, because it may not be measuring accurately. So it's important that you really get in tune with your body. Understand where can you push it, where do you have to hold back a bit, and try to have different gears to work with. It's not an all or nothing, right? Or just it's not binary, if you will, right? It's not a slow speed only, it's not a fast speed only. It's many gears in between. I mean, if we look at my bike right now, I think it's about 18 total gears. There's a wide range of gears I can use to adjust my speed, right? So it's good to learn how to adjust your speed, even just incrementally, right? But that takes time, it takes practice, it takes awareness. And these are things that even after, yes, wasn't until grade 10 I really started taking running more seriously. It's been about 25 years, right? Even 25 years after myself getting a little more serious about running and endurance training, I'm still trying to be cognizant of all these things. What is my effort level? How much can I push it? How much should I hold back? When not to listen to ego. Like I said, to this day, I still try to keep that top of mind. It's an ongoing process. Trying to understand your body, know what it's capable of doing, know what it's not capable of doing. There are times where you can have a lot of workouts where you're going all out. Then there's a lot of times where you gotta dial it back. You go easier than you think you should. The main thing is don't fall prey to your ego, which is easier said than done, because I still fall prey to my ego. Like I said, 25 years after the fact, I still have to think about these things. So it's a never-ending process, which is not such a bad thing, actually. You know, if it's a never-ending process, it forces you to be aware at all times. It keeps you engaged in the moment. You know, I kind of liken it to, this might not be the best analogy, but what's coming to mind right now. I kind of liken it to driving stick in the car. Now, not a lot of people know how to drive stick anymore because so many cars are automatic now. But when you're driving stick, when you're driving a manual car, you have to be more engaged with your driving, which is a good thing, right? Because with automatic, sometimes it can be really easy to just get a little lazy, get a little, the word I'm looking for, not coming to mind right now, but complacent. It can be easy to get complacent when you're driving automatic. But if you're driving stick, you have to be engaged the entire time you're driving. So training is the same thing. Whether you're doing cardio training, whether you're doing strength training, circuit training, whatever physical training you're doing, learning a new skill, you gotta stay engaged to some degree. Now, I'm not saying it has to be 100%. You know, maybe if you're learning a new skill, sure, you need to be a bit more 100% engaged. But the idea is that you are engaged with whatever it is that you're doing at all times. You don't want momentary lapse in focus to suddenly be your downfall, especially when you're pushing your limits. You gotta be engaged. No matter how much things hurt, no matter how tired you are, think it like if you're doing a heavy squat or a bench press. You gotta be engaged with the movement, even though it hurts like hell. Or, well, going back to the pull pad, you're at the vault, doing those 10 falls at the very end. You're almost at the end. Don't let, again, momentary loss of focus costs you. You gotta stay engaged even when things are hurting. And that's how you start to develop mental toughness and awareness as well. All right, coming up to the final set here. Now, I don't know how my app is measuring my cadence, but it has been measuring it. So when I'm on my work sets in the particular gear I'm in right now, I'm around high 60s, like 67, 68, sometimes pushing 70, depending. And I was noticing that's where it's been at a lot of times during the set. So been relatively consistent, but I've certainly had to been working a little harder for it. I just realized I haven't drank water yet. I'm sweating like crazy. So if you're ever using a treadmill or indoor bike, indoors in general, hopefully you have a fan handy for you. Just keep things cool a little bit more. All right, I got about 40 seconds left. Let's see how much more I can push this. See if I can get my RPM above 70. Keep it there, because even just bring it to there, I can start feeling some of that burn. It's the last set, just over 30 seconds to go. I'm just gonna go for it now. But the Airdyne's nice. At least you still got the fan to cool you off. I got no fan right now, and that's what I need to get in the summertime now. Come on, focus. All right. So on that last one, it looked like I was able to bring my heart rate between 180 and 190 beats per minute. So on the bike, that's working really hard. I think after this, I should do some shopping, find a wireless bike computer where it attaches to the back wheel instead of the front. The one I got on my bike right now, it's a wired one, and the wire is only long enough to go to the front wheel versus looping it to the back. So all right, 3-minute cool down. Have some water finally. Now, what's nice about using the bike or the Airdyne, or really any non-impact means of cardio, is in terms of higher intensity stuff, you could get away with more of it on something like this versus on a run. And part of that is because when you're running, not just the working your aerobic capabilities or perhaps anaerobic, depending on the kind of workout you're doing, but it's all that impact that you're taking. And if you haven't built a tolerance in your body to handle a lot of volume, then you really don't want to do too much high intensity effort when it comes to running, at least in the beginning stages. At some point you could down the road, but even then, even when you've gotten used to some running, you still got to be careful how much more you do, because sudden increase in intensity and or volume in your running, body's gonna rebel against you. Case in point, I'll try to say this over the next minute 30 seconds. So years ago, I ran cross country with UBC. This was 2007, so 18 years ago now. Uh, Up until that point, I was doing a lot of triathlon training, but the running volume I did on my own, nowhere near what was uh, expected when you're on the cross country team. So I think on my own, I was running maybe a total of 20 kilometers a week, and that's between easy runs and intervals. I started with the cross country team. Basically, within a week or two, I was doing 40 kilometers a week, and eventually almost 60 kilometers a week, and was doing that for about 3 months. Now I got faster, but it took a toll on my body. By the end of the cross country season, my shins were killing me because I increased not only the volume, so the amount of running, the mileage I was doing per week, but I also increased the intensity, both at the same time. Hell, just doing one or the other can be enough for your body to start, or at least your shins start hitting you a bit. But for me, doing both, after 3 months, I had to take a break from running. So now, even though I took a break from running, didn't mean I didn't stop training. And that's 30 minutes. All right. Yeah, even though I took a break from running, I was still doing training. Seeing that it was the fall season at that point, I was doing a lot of swimming with my triathlon club. I was biking indoors on the trainer, just like this. So I was still getting training done, some kind of cardio training through other means, just wasn't through running. And maybe about a month or two after I took a break from running, I slowly eased my way back into it, and um, I just had to monitor the amount of mileage I was doing and the intensity. But fortunately, I didn't lose too much fitness on the running side because I kept up my training through other means. So, you know, for anyone who starts feeling shin pain when doing a lot of training, and I find this happens a lot with people when they start training at Redline because they might have a test coming up, their pro pack coming up, so they just do um, a lot of running on the obstacle course, so that which means a lot of impact from the jumps. They start feeling their shins within a matter of weeks. Um, Basically, I'm sharing the story just to say that if you start feeling shin pain, then definitely take a break from running. Get checked out too, I would say. See a physio if you can. But for the most part, remove any impact from your training, but find other means. So again, you can be using the bike, you can go for a swim, you can use the Airdyne, rower, whatever you need to, where you can still get some kind of cardio training in. Yes, it's not running, but it doesn't have to be. Like I said, I took a break from running about no more than 2 months. I still kept up with my swimming. I still kept up with my biking. So when I got back into running, I didn't really lose all that much in terms of fitness. Maybe some specificity in the run fitness, but not a whole lot of specificity because I think, what was it? The season ended in October. I probably started running end of November, sometime in December. About 2 months after that, I ran a half marathon, and it was one of my fastest half marathons I ever ran. So I still had speed from the cross country season. Um, I just had to make sure that I ease my way back into the running. Anyway, that's everything. If you stuck with me from beginning to end, thank you very much. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment below, or any questions you have, leave a comment below, or you can always email me at marc, M-A-R-C, at rlconditioning.ca. But until next time.